Good morning, friends. Welcome to WordofGord. It's at 5 in the morning. Woke up with a sense that contact would be made or recalled. And I got up and I got ready, and I think it's the English guitarist and folk musician and composer John Renbourn, who I visited with earlier, and I'm going to recall. And just a little quick backwards to third time there. It seemed like a spontaneous contact in terms of, contact from the but now that I'm sitting here, it does seem slightly backwards in time. The more I try to sort of parse it out, the more fuzzy it gets. Sorry about that, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, John Renbourn passed 2 years ago, and my son's was doing quite well. Quite some time ago, I didn't report on it, and also his good friend and sometimes partner, Bert Jansch, and a bunch of friends. And together helped form Pentangle. It was a great success. 5 men, 4 men, 1 woman. Very big in the 70s and kept on going. And a great fusion of folk and jazz and blues. And a lot of gospel too, I guess. And great innovators in the day. Great innovators. And great players still. So, let's see if I can open up the interaction here. So, John, I'm recalling what I'm visiting with you right now in what seems like your place of residence. Only after playing, you found a place that really suits you. Yes, I have. It's quite wonderful, and everything about living here is quite amazing too. Yes, John, I thought you'd like it. Being one who likes to travel and play, and I thought we'd probably still will like to travel and play. And it's so much easier in the natural form, is it not? Oh yes, so it's really quite wonderful. You'll be able to think yourself to different places, and I can go to do a gig in Italy or Germany or Belgium or even North Africa. And we're of course being journalists today, and joined him a couple of times in North Africa, and he's absorbing that culture. So even more than he did when he was alive. I'll never forget one of the first pilgrims to that culture, to learn all those different modes of guitar playing. And we admired him for it, and a leader, and can't be forgotten in one's assessment of that whole movement. And yes, I know you're going to ask, people want to know, did Bert Jansch and I play gigs? Yes, we do. When it suits us and when people want us. And as you can imagine, there's a fair number of folk and blues fans here already. There's no shortage of them. And sort of a club circuit is already been set up before I got here. And the tradition continues. And almost without a stop. sometimes I have to turn around and ask myself, where am I? I'm playing just like I always did, even more fleet-footed and fast-fingered. And I look around at the crowd, and they're like, young and healthy-looking folkies that I saw in the 60s and 70s, and not the sort of older folks that we all became in the 90s. But the spirit is the same. The sharing of beauty, the sharing of story and song. It's all there. And I'm thinking myself, John, that all the times you sang that song, you had a great dream of heaven one night, and the angels gathering. So I knew it was. You played it so often that I thought, it's real for him. And well, I had my doubts, but I'm glad those doubts were dispelled. That is a heavenly world, and I want people to know that and recall it. And it doesn't have to be any conventional, traditional idea of heaven. It can be any kind of heaven you want. John, I'm wondering about your interest in medieval music and other old music from different cultures. Have you explored that farther? Oh yes, I have. And not only can I contact the spirit of John Dowland and other great players of that era, who apparently are still here, although I'm told it's a little more complicated than that. But yes, I have sat down and talked and interacted and played with John Dowland. And others of his day. There's lots of us. And how can I say? I've had experiences where I am a lead player from 400 years ago. And they seem like very vivid dreams to me now. One does not need to rest very much in this world, but one can rest, and during those rest periods you can dream. It's an unusual, different version of the dreams one had on Earth, but it's one goes places in one's mind, and I see myself as somebody in this dream who's playing lute 400 years ago, in a couple of cultures. British culture, English culture, and also Spanish. So I'm starting to see this whole trail of other John Renbourns with different names who played and struggled and tried to keep their heads above water. But this whole notion of being the traveling musician, the troubadour, is all the more real to me now. And I'm still exploring. Of course, I'm still exploring. And it's not a finished story. It's an ongoing, unfolding exploration. So, Igor, now you're thinking about inspirations. Well, the landscape is a great inspiration. Beautiful landscapes. The enduring beauty of folk melodies and harmonies. They sound the same harmonies and chords sound the same here, but just more beautiful, more sort of exquisite, more sublime, the way the chords float on the air. And technical innovations of audio reproduction, microphones, amplifiers, digital things. We've got all that. You can play around with it just like you could online. You can get all kinds of effects. Plus, you can sit down and bang about on a lute. I'm still not that great on a lute. I'm getting better. And, hanging out with those that never gave it up is doing me a lot of good. I asked him about the old blues players that he grew up sort of worshipping and stuff. And he said, oh yeah, they're here. And it's great to see them. And they keep the tradition alive. Although I noticed they don't, since life is not hard here, life is not in any way oppressive. Their music has a lighter, airier feel, slightly more gospel than blues, I would say. And some of them had a fair bit of gospel within me when we lived on earth. And, a bit of the angel, a bit of the devil. And they still seem to be that split, although the split seems heavily weighted toward the angelic sort of gospel praising devotional side, without getting too deeply into that. But they struggle to keep their tradition alive as their lives are so much more wonderful here. And it's like giving up old habits. And I'll leave that to the rest of you who will obviously get here as simple as that. And that's one thing one realizes when one is here. Everyone's coming. And all you have to do is patiently wait, and people that you'd like to see will show up here after their transition, after they've come across. Some of them need a bit of rest and readjustment. I certainly did. Not too long, but just rest, readjustment, like a month's vacation, and then you're ready to be up and at it again. And working on old manuscripts, boy, that's easier here. Getting a hold of them and seeing the variants and examining them carefully. And this whole thing of beating Darwin and the other people from the 1600s, it only seems to be partially them. I mean, they're there, they're real, they're playing and singing and participating in performances. Some of them sort of a bit more multimedia than you'd ever see, a couple of guys in folk club strumming away. And when I'm with them, sitting down, being socially intimate, discussing all the highways and byways of our lives here, he gives me hints, and I think it's only part of him that's there. There's another part of him, long established, because he's been here hundreds of years. Not that hundreds of years seems like hundreds of years here, but it's still an extended stay. I think part of him is alive, was alive on Earth, and he was very curious to explore electric instruments. and part of him was doing that, and he's not sort of trying to prove it to me. He's just giving me little hints, throwing me little images as we're talking. And he's like, some guy in sort of a jazz rock band. And playing in that sort of, that style. It was kind of established in the 70s and 80s. And, just to let you know that sort of seemingly magical thing is going on. And, I'll understand it more as time goes by. I tell you what's that. And I still take an interest in the people I was enjoying, loving, are still in our Pierre dances on, of course, is the obvious example. And other players. Just drop in and say hello, even if you don't see me. They might feel my presence. Clive Carroll, certainly. Drop in and see him when he was doing that tour of my compositions, which I was incredibly honored and grateful that he would take the time to do that and do it so well. So, Clive Carroll, I'll take my hat off to you. Thank you. And for those who are watching this interview, you can see some of those performances by Clive Carroll on YouTube. They're very good on YouTube. So, yes, what else was I have to say? Well, he said earlier, it's renewed all his friendships and family relationships. And he says, but that, everyone does that here, and you needn't concern your audience. Be assured that all is well in terms of family and friends. Some people have difficulties with regrets and remorse for things they did in life. I have a little bit of a challenge on that, but not too much. And one gets over these little humps, and one gets adjusted, and one is incredibly grateful to be young and vibrant again. And boy, is that something you feel here. Really good, really energetic, full of good vibes and positive feelings and new ambitions. It's quite marvelous how good you can feel here. And I want people to know that. And I'm sure you've told me about your audience growing, so you probably are not surprised to hear that, but maybe they'll be better too. So greetings to my former Pentangle colleagues. You'll love it here. Don't rush, but thank you for Jackie particularly for keeping the tradition alive, keeping the flame going. You're doing a great job, Jackie. As are you two doing today. You'll be here, and I'll be happy to see you. And so will Bert. So a little postcard from the afterworld of the afterlife from John Renbourn to all my fans and people who are just genuinely interested. Be well, be happy, don't worry. Goodbye.